to tell you guys about why I bought this kind of fast, not really, old, and somewhat stylistically uninspiring AMG.
What don't they vote?
Okay, so those words might be a little harsh, but in my opinion, they're actually kind of true. Here's why. This car is old. It was designed in the 90s, built until about 2003 for the wagon variant. Stylistically, it's really not inspiring. I mean, it's not that much different than the base model E320 or even the E430, the V8 non-AMG version of this car. And it's not really that fast. 349 horsepower when it was new. At a time when BMW was building the E39 M5 with, I don't know, 100 more horsepower about. Now, that's not to say it's a slouch. It is pretty quick. It's still faster than, you know, a Hyundai Elantra or other pedestrian cars built today, but it's certainly not fast. But that's actually why I like this car, and that's actually why I changed the name of this channel to Unsung Automobile, because I like cars that not everybody likes. I like this because not a lot of people appreciate it for what it is, and I mean, yeah, spoiler alert, that's the whole point of this video. That's why I bought it. I bought it because nobody really appreciates them quite like the select few people that have these do. So yeah, I guess let's just talk about the styling since we're on that point. The only thing that kind of gives this car away from a non-AMG variant are the wheels. You can only get these wheels if you bought an E55. You couldn't get like an E430 with the sport package, which gave you the same bumpers, and also get these wheels. Now, you had to order the E55 to get the monoblock Aero 2s. That's really kind of the only thing on the outside that gives it away, because again, like I said, the side skirts, the front bumper, the rear bumper, all that stuff you could get on an E430 or an E320 in the sport package. Well, I'm sure you guys know this already, but the exterior styling isn't what make an AMG an AMG. No, it's actually this guy. This is the M113 5.5 liter 349 horsepower V8 engine built by AMG themselves, mated to the 722.6 5-speed automatic transmission, built for Mercedes V12 because they couldn't find another transmission that would handle the torque of this motor. That translates to probably and arguably and confirmed somewhere most reliable engine and transmission combination that AMG has ever built. I'm not kidding about that. I'm sure you guys have seen the videos of other people who have been buying these old Mercedes up because they are just absolutely bulletproof. You can hammer these things. I've actually met a guy with 300,000 miles on an E55 just like this, and the only thing he's ever had to do on it was brakes and a radiator. That's another reason why I bought the W210 E55 over like an E39 M5, other than the fact that the E39 is like triple the price of this car, is because they're not as reliable as this. I could feel confident driving this thing up and down this freeway without having something catastrophically go wrong. Moving on to the interior, the thing I love the most about this interior is it's so simple. There's not very many buttons going on in here. Everything is pretty obvious. The heated seats are, you know, obviously placed. They are labeled. There's a headlight washer button in case you, for whatever reason, need to wash your headlights. The climate control is a little bit confusing when you first get into this car trying to figure out how it works, but once you get used to it, it's actually a really simple system. So I like that. The best part about this interior, though, in my opinion, are the seat buttons. Mercedes has always put them on the door panels. That's honestly the best place for them. It's obvious. When you touch a button, you know exactly what it's going to do because you can see it. There's also 3 memory positions for each seat. That's standard. Doesn't matter if you have a base model or an AMG. You get 3 memory positions for both the driver and the passenger seat. There's also a power telescoping wheel, which is great. The things that I don't really like about this interior is, well, one, it's dated. You know, the E39 M5, I think, aged more gracefully than the E55. The other thing is the adjustments for the seat are electrically powered, except for like the side bolster as well as the lumbar. Those are actually air powered with these little switches right here. Those sometimes leak. Mine do on the seat bolster extension, or sorry, the seat bottom extension by your thighs. That doesn't work, it leaks, so I'll have to figure that one out. The other thing that I really just don't understand is this rear sunshade. Like, it works, and I'm actually really thankful that it works, but it doesn't really do much. I mean, I put it up and I'm like, it doesn't actually block out that much light. I mean, why did they put it in there? It'll just end up breaking at some point, which actually they do. But nonetheless, it's there. There's also a seat headrest release button in case you have them up back there. You can hit this button and they fall down. That's actually a really useful feature. But that's kind of it. There's not much else to talk about in this interior. It's very simple. It's straight to the point. This car is more about driving, which is actually, believe it or not, why I purchased this car. So I guess let's go do that. I'll switch to the GoPro. We'll go drive. Okay, so we are driving the E55, if that wasn't already obvious. And I'll keep this part of the video nice and short, but essentially my closing point in why I purchased this vehicle is because the E55 drives really soft. In terms of the suspension isn't too stiff, it's comfortable, but it'll also take a corner. It's stiffer than base model E320 or E430 suspension. It's dead reliable, like I had mentioned before. And it's decently fast. 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds it's been recorded to do. Quarter mile times in the mid 13s, trap speed like 105. It's not bad. I mean, those are decent numbers for a car that's almost 20 years old, and B, a car that I spent less than $10,000 on without a supercharger, without a turbocharger. This is just a V8 rear-wheel drive sedan. I mean, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I took this car up to Seattle twice in the last month, and it's just great. I mean, it soaks up the road. It feels like it's meant, obviously, for, you know, they say, you know, Mercedes are built for the Autobahn, and it really comes into itself when it's on the freeway, because it's what it's designed for, and I believe it. It just, you know, when you need to accelerate, like I'll pass this Honda right here. It's got decent torque. It really feels like at 40 miles an hour is where it likes to pull the hardest. Coming from a stop, it doesn't pull very hard. I have a feeling that has to do with the transmission just being so old. It probably loses a lot of power through the torque converter. But once you get up into about the 35, 40 mile an hour range, the thing pulls really hard in second gear. Now, you can't break the tires loose in this, though. I've done it a lot. You turn the traction control off and you floor it. It'll break them loose, even from a standstill. But yeah, I just, you know, at the end of the day, this car really just makes me feel good. I feel great purchasing this car. I don't really feel like it was a dumb decision. I love this car, and I love the community that surrounds Mercedes. I feel like driving this car, when I show up to a meet, it doesn't attract the kind of people who are just interested in how fast is it going, you know, this and that, because they look at it and they just assume it's not very fast, and that's fine. You know, you get the conversations of, wow, is that a real E55? Because there are fake ones out there. And I get to say, yes, this is a real E55. And then you get to talk to that person about the Mercedes that they've owned, and they're more interested in, you know, the history of the cars and the differences and the nuances, and that's kind of more personally what I'm interested in. With this particular E55, it's not really about the aftermarket. It's about what Mercedes did with this car and how amazing it was from the factory, and it doesn't need to be changed. It makes me feel good about not spending money modifying it to make it cool, because it's already as cool as it's pretty much going to get. I'm sure I could supercharge it, but all the research I've done says it's going to cost $10,000 minimum to supercharge it, so not worth it. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's why I bought this car. It's, you know, again, I didn't want to make this video too long or too full of useless information, but hopefully you got something out of it. And maybe if you're on the edge of buying a W210 E55, this will persuade you, or maybe it'll sway you away from it. In line with the name change of the channel that I mentioned at the beginning, Unsung Automobile, I want you guys to leave any comments down below of cars that you want me to do a video on. Not necessarily a review or anything like that. That's not really what I'd like to do. Or I'd more or less like to, you know, meet an owner of, like, I don't know, a good example is like R33 Skyline, or even R31 Skyline. Like, when was the last time you saw one of those? You know, somebody who owns a really underrated car that wants to talk about it. I would love to meet with them and shoot a video and, you know, start creating content like that, because that's really what I'm interested in, is those cars that nobody really likes. As a side note, my wife drives an 08 Acura RL. The Dude in Blue did a video on that car, actually kind of highlighting the fact that it was rather underrated. So maybe I'll do a video on that car next.
But anyway, guys, like I said, if you like the video, thumbs up. If you don't like it, thumbs down. Let me know what I can do differently in the next video. And if you have suggestions for videos in the future, whether it pertains to the E55 or if it's any other car related thing, just let me know and we'll do it. I'm also going to try and push another news segment out, so if you guys have any news ideas or things that are coming up, let me know about those as well. Hope you guys are having a good day, and I'll talk to you later.